Welcome back, everyone. Joining us now is Joshua Rhodes, a research fellow at the Weber Energy Group at the University of Texas at Austin. Thanks so much for joining us, Joshua.
Thanks for having me.
All right, so we've heard there are concerns about a strain on the power grid. That's why rotating outages are underway. I'm just going to tell you, Joshua, this is inside baseball for you all. I'm trying to understand just layman's terms. Can you explain how the process works?
Sure. So on the electricity system, we basically have to be generating all of the electricity that we're consuming at the same time. It's not like water where we can put it in water towers and hold in tanks for very long times yet. And so every time someone fires up a computer, every time you're running your air conditioner or your heater at this point, I guess, we're having to generate that energy at the same time. But if we can't match supply and demand, if we don't have enough power plants to be able to give everyone the electricity that they're wanting, then we have to cut off some of the demand in order to match the two. Because if we didn't do that, the whole grid could go down. And so this is a way of keeping at least parts of the grid open while we get to the point where we can match it for everybody again.
So I guess the next question is, why can't the power grid handle situations like this? We have a lot of people in Central Texas and in Texas in general.
We do, and we've got a pretty big power grid. It's just like, I mean, as I've been listening and hearing, in the previous segments, I mean, this is an unprecedented event. Like, our electricity grid is basically set up to handle our peak demands in the summertime, and this is just something that we just have not really had to deal with ever. And so, we use a lot of energy to keep our houses warm. We use a lot of natural gas. We use a lot of electricity. About 60% of homes are using electricity to try to heat their house, and the other 40% are using natural gas. But half of the power plants on our grid are also trying to use natural gas in order to make the electricity that homes are wanting. And so we are actually short on natural gas in some areas, and so some of the natural gas power plants have gone offline as well as some of the other resources, and our system isn't set up to meet all of these demands all at once.
Yeah, it's just too much. It's overburdened, I guess, right? Can you give us some perspective, though? When is the last time Central Texas has experienced outages like this? I know you said unprecedented, but maybe something not as severe, but something kind of within the same ballpark.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. So I remember the last time we had rotating outages was actually in 2011, I believe. It was in February of 2011, where we had some intake pipes on some. So these power plants are cooled by intake water, kind of like a radiator in your car, like your engine is. And we had some pipelines freeze, and so they weren't able to bring water into the plants. And then so we had some rotating outages back then. We've come close in the summertime but we haven't seen anything recently, really. It's a pretty unprecedented event to have the entire state under a winter storm warning.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Joshua Rhodes, before we go, anything else you'd like to add? I know you're an expert at this, so anything you'd like to share with our viewers?
Yeah, I mean, obviously stay warm out there, but if there's any way, whenever the electricity grid's trying to turn your block back on, all of these things, keep the minimal amount of things plugged in and on so that it's an easy process to turn on so that we can get everybody hooked up again.
All right, some good advice. Thank you so much.